The sky turned black the moment the first blast hit. Then came the rumble. At first, I thought it was just an earthquake. But when the glass in the window shattered and the floor buckled beneath my feet, I knew it was something far worse. I rushed to the window, and that was when I saw them. Dark, ominous shapes against a sky that had turned from blue to a sickly gray. The ships. Hundreds of them. No thousands. It didn't matter how many there were. They weren't here for peace, for discussion, for anything but destruction. The first explosion hit. I still remember the sound. Like a massive clap of thunder. But it wasn't just thunder. It was a wave of pure, unrelenting power. The city shook. Buildings trembled and collapsed. Their iron skeletons crumpling under the weight of something so far beyond our capability that it was laughable to think we could resist. I ran. I don't even know why. The impulse to survive is a strange thing. I didn't stop to think. Didn't stop to ask myself if it was hopeless. The ground beneath me cracked open like a sickening wound in the earth. I saw people scream as they tried to flee. But there was no escape. The sky was filled with their ships. Their weapons fired with precision, burning everything in their path. The city, my city, was turned into nothing but ash. I don't know how long I ran, or where I ran to. It didn't matter. There was no safe place anymore. The world was no longer a world, it was a battlefield. Humanity had no place on it. The days that followed blurred together. The world didn't feel like a world at all, it felt like an open wound, bleeding out from the inside. What was left of us, the survivors, couldn't seem to grasp what had happened. Governments fell. The military fell. Everything we thought was permanent or a way of life. Our safety had evaporated in an instant. But something else began to take root in the wreckage of our cities. Fear. Grief, yes, those things took their hold. But so did something else, something deeper, something that rose from the very pit of despair. It was defiance. And it started with me. The aliens thought we were weak. They thought we were nothing. But they didn't know what it meant to be human. They didn't understand that no matter how much we lost, we never gave up. And that's where they made their mistake. That's where we would make our stand. I couldn't just survive. I couldn't just stand by and let them wipe us out. Not without a fight. I wasn't alone in that feeling. I started to find other survivors like me, scattered in the ruins. A soldier here, a scientist there, ordinary people like myself, all of us with the same fire burning inside. We weren't ready to accept extinction. Not yet. We didn't have weapons. We didn't have the military might to fight them head. What we had was something they couldn't account for. The human spirit. And that spirit, that will to survive, would become our greatest weapon. It started small. A few makeshift attacks, raiding alien outposts, stealing whatever we could from the wreckage, and with each little victory, I felt the weight of humanity's future shift. The tide was starting to turn, even if just a little. We were survivors, yes. But we were also fighters. In the wreckage of the old world, we began to build something, new, a resistance. We didn't have a plan at first. We just knew we couldn't hide anymore. The only way we would make it was by striking back. We would fight, not just for survival, but for a future. A future where humanity could rebuild, even in the ashes of our fallen cities. The first time we repurposed an alien weapon, I felt something hope, fragile as it was. It wasn't much, but it was a sign. We could win this. We could fight. We could survive. And so, we did. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Not for me. I was never meant to lead. I wasn't prepared for this. For the weight of responsibility that now fell squarely on my shoulders. Yet, here I stood, staring at a group of survivors, people who had lost everything. Just like me, waiting for me to tell them what to do next. When the alien ships first arrived, we were just another handful of scared people, running and hiding. We never thought we would make it this far. Yet, somehow, we had. We were alive. We were survivors. And that was enough for a spark to ignite. We had been through hell. Cities were gone. Nations had fallen. Friends and family reduced to ashes. The world had turned into something unrecognizable. And yet, there was one thing the aliens had underestimated about humanity. Our ability to endure. We were more than just survivors now. We were fighters. And it was time to show the invaders that we weren't done yet. I remember the first time we sat down to plan. The group had gathered in a dilapidated building on the outskirts of what was once a bustling city. The walls were cracked, the air thick with dust and smoke, but there was a pulse here. A hum of something that hadn't been extinguished. Our drive. I wasn't the leader, by choice. The others turned to me, their eyes wide with a mix of hope and desperation. I had no military experience, no leadership training, and certainly no qualifications for what was being asked of me. But I was the one who had seen it. I had survived the first wave. I knew the alien forces, their methods, and their weaknesses. I looked at them, ordinary people, engineers, soldiers, medics, each one of them capable of far more than they ever thought. And it was that realization, that glimmer of human ingenuity, that gave me the strength to step up. We may have been shattered, but we still had something the aliens would never have: resourcefulness. The first discovery came on a quiet night. We had been scavenging through the ruins, looking for anything useful. It was just a routine search, another night of trying to make sense of this new world, when one of the scouts came running back, his eyes wide with excitement. "I found something," he gasped, out of breath. We followed him to the site of an old military base. It had been hit hard during the invasion, its fences torn down, its structures reduced to rubble. But among the wreckage, there was something that stood out: a crashed alien drone. It was just lying there, half buried beneath debris. It was as if the aliens had underestimated our defenses and left it behind, an oversight we would soon capitalize on. We worked through the night, carefully digging around the wreckage. It took us hours, but we finally got the drone exposed. Its sleek metallic surface gleamed under the dim lights we had scavenged. It was beautiful, in a terrifying, otherworldly way. And I realized, as we examined it, that this was our first real opportunity. This wasn't just some machine. It was a weapon, an opportunity to turn the tide. We didn't understand it fully. Hell, we barely understood how to operate it, but we could use it. We were humans. We had always adapted to the world around us. And this was no different. Days turned into weeks, as we scavenged, learned, and built. We became more efficient, more daring. We raided alien supply depots, disabling their communication systems, and stealing weapons and tech. Every time we struck, we learned something new. Every attack, no matter how small, chipped away at the alien grip on Earth. We were hitting them where it hurt: their infrastructure, their resources. The first time we reprogrammed an alien drone to fight for us, I felt something I hadn't in weeks. Hope. It wasn't much, but it was enough to ignite something within me. We weren't just surviving anymore. We were fighting back. In the midst of our growing resistance, I found myself questioning my decisions more and more. I wasn't sure I was the right person for this job. Every time we went on a mission, I felt the weight of the lives that depended on me. And every loss, the death of someone who trusted me, someone I had fought alongside, crushed me a little more. I remember the first time one of our own didn't come back. The mission had seemed simple enough: disable an alien communications tower in a nearby city. It was just another strike, just another step toward regaining our world. But then things went wrong. The tower was heavily guarded, and our team was ambushed. We lost 3 good men in that attack. I stayed up late that night, sitting alone in the corner of our makeshift base, trying to reconcile the loss. I questioned everything: my leadership, my decisions, my ability to get these people through this. But as the days went on, I realized something. I couldn't afford to doubt myself. Not now. Not when the stakes were so high. The cost of inaction was worse than any failure. I had to be strong for them. We all had to be strong. It wasn't long before we realized that we couldn't keep playing small. We had to make a bigger move. We couldn't just sabotage alien outposts forever. We needed a plan. A real plan. I began meeting with a core group of survivors, those who had proven themselves over the weeks. They were my commanders now, each one with their own expertise. We were no longer just scavengers. We were a team, a force to be reckoned with. One of our engineers, a quiet man named Alex, came forward with an idea. He had been studying the alien tech we'd stolen, analyzing its energy sources and propulsion systems. "If we can disrupt their power grid," he said, "we might be able to shut down a whole fleet of ships, maybe even the command center." It was bold. It was dangerous, but it was a shot. And shots were something we didn't have the luxury to waste. With each passing day, the resistance grew stronger. We had more weapons, more technology, and more fighters. What started as a small group of frightened survivors had become an organized, albeit fragmented, fighting force. We were still far from ready to face the full might of the aliens, but we had something they didn't: the will to survive. But even as we mounted more attacks, I could feel the burden of leadership pressing on me. Each victory came at a cost. Each strike made me wonder if we were getting closer to victory or if we were just digging our graves. It was a constant battle between hope and doubt. And sometimes, I wasn't sure if the hope was enough. We were becoming something the aliens hadn't anticipated, a human resistance, rising from the ashes of the old world. Our resolve was their greatest threat, and I knew, deep down, that the only way to win this war was by striking at the heart of the alien forces. They had underestimated us, and I intended to make them regret it. There was a quiet stillness before the storm, the calm before the battle that would determine everything. Humanity's survival, our very future, rested on the edge of a single, daring mission. If we succeeded, we would finally break the grip of the invaders, reclaim Earth, and restore some semblance of peace. If we failed, we would be nothing more than dust scattered across the universe. Just another footnote in the annals of galactic conquest. The time had come to hit the alien fleet where it hurt. We had planned this moment for months, gathering everything we could to make this last stand. The strikes on their supply chains, their infrastructure, those had been mere distractions, small victories that had fueled our hope. But this was the final blow. We were going to destroy their command center, and with it, any hope they had of continuing their invasion. The mission was simple, in theory, too simple. Maybe infiltrate the heart of their fleet, breach their command ship, and detonate the atomic bomb we had modified using alien technology. We didn't have much to work with, just scraps of stolen tech and the will to fight. Our ships, barely held together with salvaged parts, were no match for their mighty fleet. But we had one thing they didn't have, the element of surprise. We'd trained for this moment. Every one of us knew what was at stake. Every one of us understood that the odds were stacked against us. But this was the only shot we had. We either made it count, or disappeared into the annals of history as another failed species. The aliens might have been powerful, but they didn't understand the one thing that made humanity so dangerous: our ability to sacrifice everything for the survival of our kind. The countdown to launch felt like an eternity. As our fleet of makeshift ships prepared to launch, I looked around at the survivors who had become my family, my comrades. Each of them had lost so much. But here we were, ready to face the impossible. The alien ships loomed in the distance, their dark shapes filling the sky. They were waiting for us. They knew we were coming. "We've trained for this," I said, trying to steady my voice, but my heart was pounding in my chest. "We've lost so much. Now, we fight for our future. We fight for Earth. We fight for humanity." There were no cheers, no bravado, just silence, the weight of the moment pressing down on all of us. We knew what we had to do, and we knew the price of failure. The first shots came as soon as we broke through the atmosphere. The aliens had been expecting us. Their massive warships opened fire, their weapons lighting up the sky like an inferno. Our ships shook under the barrage, and the comms crackled with the chaos of battle. But we didn't stop. We kept moving forward, our resolve hardening with each passing second. "Hold steady," I yelled, trying to keep the crew focused as explosions rocked our fleet. "We've come too far. Stay with me. Stay on course." The ship shuddered as another blast struck us, the force rattling my bones, but we couldn't slow down. Every ship in our fleet was a patchwork of alien and human technology, barely functional, but alive with the flicker of defiance. We were outnumbered, outgunned, and running on fumes, but we were moving forward, pushing toward the heart of the alien fleet. I could see the command ship now, a towering behemoth of metal and energy. It was the center of their operation, the core of their invasion. Destroying it would cripple their entire fleet, leaving them scattered and disorganized. But getting to it, that was another story. We dodged fire, weaving between enemy ships, narrowly avoiding their plasma blasts. I watched as one of our ships exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Another one of us gone, another hero lost in the fight. "We're almost there," I shouted, but my voice felt hollow. I knew the cost. I knew how many more would fall before this was over. The closer we got to the command ship, the more the alien fleet swarmed around us. Their ships were massive, their weapons far more advanced than anything we had. Yet, we kept going, because there was no turning back. If we stopped now, Earth was lost. If we hesitated, the future was gone. "Prepare for breach," I ordered. "We're going in." The moment we crossed the threshold of the command ship's defenses, all hell broke loose. Alien drones swarmed around us, firing with deadly precision. The ship's corridors were a maze of metal and flashing lights, alarms blaring. As we moved deeper into the heart of the ship, we didn't have much time. The atomic bomb was in place, ticking away, its timer counting down. "Move, move, move," I shouted, pushing the crew forward. We have to get out of here. Now. The tension was suffocating. Every step felt like it could be our last. The ship's defensive systems came online, locking down the hallways as we fought our way through. The alien drones were everywhere, but we pushed forward, our weapons blazing as we made our way to the core of their operation. The final moment arrived. We reached the command center, the heart of the alien ship. The bomb was set, the countdown ticking down, but there was no time to celebrate. The alien forces were closing in, their weapons trained on us, ready to eliminate us. We've done it. One of the crew members shouted, but the words barely registered. I was too focused on the seconds ticking away, the deafening silence that followed our explosion. Then, disaster struck. The countdown had reached its final moments when an alien warship appeared directly in our path. It moved faster than anything we had seen before, its weapons primed to obliterate us in an instant. Get to the ship, I shouted, but the enemy had already locked onto us. The ship was about to go up in flames, but with only seconds left, we did the only thing we could. We detonated the bomb. The explosion was deafening. A shockwave of energy radiated outward, tearing through the heart of the alien fleet. The command ship disintegrated in a fiery blast, its power systems collapsing in a brilliant flash of light. The alien fleet faltered, the remaining ships lost, their coordination, their defensive systems crumbling. It was over. The heart of their invasion had been destroyed. Earth had won, but at what cost? The war had ended, but the scars of battle would remain. The survivors, those of us left, stood in silence as we watched the alien ships fall from the sky. We had done it. We had survived. But the price was steep. I looked around at the wreckage, at the faces of those who had made it. Some were grieving, some were just numb, but all of us were changed. The weight of the cost was too great to ignore. But we had done it. Humanity had won. Against impossible odds, we had fought back. We had survived. And that was something that aliens would never understand. The fight for Earth was over. But the fight for our future, that was just beginning.